So, Gordon Bryan here with another one of my election videos, and in this video I want to give a little example of what I offer the constituents. Remember, my manifesto is that on every vote on legislation in Parliament I would vote how the constituents tell me. So I'm going to use a couple of things that David Cameron said as an example over this last weekend. Well, in fact, let's go back to when he launched the launch of the Conservative Manifesto, and his main criticism was about the Labour Party making a few more laws and then everything would be okay. He was very critical of that aspect. And yet move forward to this weekend, and he seemed to spend most of it talking about how the Conservative Party, one of the laws that they would bring in was that if the sitting government changed their leader, so basically the Prime Minister changed without being elected, then they would have to have a general election within 6 months, and that would be a law, a change in the law. And here's the thing, here's what I offer, is that if that law was put forward, that there would have to be an election within 6 months if the Prime Minister changed, then the vote that I cast as MP in the House of Commons would be decided by the constituency. Now, laws pass or fail, there's quite a long process about whether laws pass or fail, but one of the crucial aspects is how the MPs vote. 650 MPs, they all vote on the law, and laws can go through or fail just on the votes of one or two MPs, or in some cases just on one MP's vote. So it's absolutely critical how each MP votes, which is why I think the constituency should decide how that MP votes, not the MP and not the leader of the party. So, as I say, if that law was put forward, you might agree with that law, you might agree, or you might be against that law, and then you would be able to have your say. And the majority of the constituents in Gillingham and Rainham, that's how I would cast my vote. It wouldn't matter how the Labour Party voted. If, say, Paul Clark, who's the current Labour MP, if he was re-elected, I can tell you how his vote would be cast on that law. It would be cast how the Labour Party tell him to vote. If the constituency told him to vote against the Labour Party, however that may be, his answer would be no. He just wouldn't do it. And I think the same would be the same if the Conservative candidate was elected or the Liberal Democrat candidate was elected. If that law, and I'm using this as a specific example because it'll count on every law, but this specific example about it having a law that there would have to be a general election within 6 months if the MP changed in Parliament. That's the law being proposed by David Cameron. Now, any party MP, if elected, they would vote on that law how their party told them to vote. They wouldn't vote how the constituency told them, they'd vote how their party told them, and that's a huge difference in how an MP represents the constituency, and it's the basic idea of my platform. I would cast my vote on that particular law how the constituency told me, and I would also cast my vote on every single legislation over the whole of the 4 or 5 years. So you're not talking about one issue. I mean, you're not going to vote Conservative or vote against Conservative because of that law proposed by David Cameron, but you might still have an opinion on that law, and likewise you might have an opinion on every single law, and there's hundreds and hundreds passed over the term of a 4 or 5 year Parliament. So there we are. That's a specific example of what I offer, i.e. an MP actually being a representative of the constituents, which is nice, rather than making all the decisions himself and ignoring what the constituency might want to say. So I want to keep these. I'll have other examples as I go along, but I do like to keep these videos short and bite-sized. So I'll finish this one off now, and I'll see you on the next one.